All right, next we have the Bureau of Reclamation grants to identify water leaks. And Diana.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. Cheryl, can you bring up the presentation, please? So over the last few months, the city's been working with water system optimization on a water loss control program. So through that, they've gone through, analyzed our financial records, we've tested meters, we've done a series of events to try to quantify the volume of water that we could potentially be losing throughout the system. One of the recommendations that they've made is that we set up a demand management area. And so they brought to our attention a couple of grant opportunities through the Bureau of Reclamation to identify water leaks. So the purpose of the grant would be to acquire grant funding to assist the city with the installation and implementation of district metered areas, better known as DMAs, to reduce water loss due to water distribution system leakage. So what is a district metered area? Basically what you do is you have a pipe coming into, whether it's a neighborhood or a larger area, your water coming in from a couple different locations. You put meters on those distribution pipes. You then compare the flow going through those meters to the flow going through the meters of the customers. If you have more water going through the meters on the pipe than what's being given to your customers, that's indicating that you have a leak within the system. So it's a great tool to identify areas that you may have leaks. So what do DMAs do? They allow staff to investigate specific areas within the city's distribution system and measure effectiveness of water loss prevention efforts. They enable the city to apply resources directly to problem areas and provide the city with better information which will improve future water distribution models. So why is reducing water loss important? It makes efficient use of the city's raw water sources. It reduces variable costs of water production related to chemicals and energy. Plus, it's mandated by the state that we reduce our overall water consumption by 2020. So the initial findings of the water loss control program is that the city is seeing real losses on a per service connection per day of 52 gallons. WSO estimates that about 50% of that could be recovered, or about 550 acre feet per year. So that's, when you're looking at losses, you have to look at the economic benefit of how much you put into trying to fix the losses versus what you're going to gain out of that. You're never going to fix all of the leaks within a distribution system. So from a cost benefit analysis, you have to determine where's your break point. And so they're saying based upon that analysis, they think we could recover about 50% of that water loss by identifying where the leaks are occurring and then addressing those leaks. So if successful with obtaining a grant, we would come forward to council to bring the grant award and then talk about specifics of a project. So right now, we're submitting under 2 grant programs this idea of setting up DMAs. If we were to be successful, we would come back with specific information as to what we would specifically do with the funds, because it's up to $1 million, but it's a 50% match from the city. So when we do that, we want to make sure it's cost effective, that either we focus on areas where we've identified that we have significant leaks to try to quantify where specifically within that area are they located, or are we going to try to address the whole city at once? So the item before you tonight is just for us to be able to submit resolutions authorizing me to submit the grant applications, but before we move forward with the grants, we'd bring them back to you with more specific detail as to what the project would actually be. So with that, the recommendation is to adopt 2 resolutions related to the 2 different grants.
Thank you, Diana. I'll bring it back to the council for any questions.
All right, if I may. Okay. Diana, thank you for that. Just a question, the 50% anticipated recovery, is that, I know it's early on, that's an estimate, is that enough to generate enough savings to make it worth the city's match?
That would generate quite a bit of savings. I don't think we would be coming forward with $1 million grant application. I just don't see us I see us doing a smaller scale project just to see how it works before we invest in doing a larger scale project throughout the city. And so definitely based upon a smaller scale project where we know we have some problem areas, I think it could be, from a cost benefit standpoint, it would be beneficial to then identify, it helps us to identify which pipes need to be replaced versus which pipes need spot repairs, that type of thing. So it just gives us more tools to be able to identify where we really need to put our resources.
And that sounds like that would also save us money.
From a water, what we purchase, what we pay for water, we pay the same amount regardless of the amount of water that we use based upon our water contract. So where does this save us the money? The amount of water that we're able to save by reducing the losses allows us to then sell that water to future customers. And so that's where we really gain the benefit of this. It's not only the staff time in terms of dealing with leaks, but that it's having that water available for the future, so then we're not having to go to other resources to try to gain that water. So that's really the benefit of it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other? Yes.
So, Diana, so we have meters installed in the ground on our mains for subdivisions, and you read them or how are we doing that?
No, so that would be part of this project.
Okay.
So we would identify a demand management area, and this grant would help us pay to install the meters, up to the 50%. And so that we would then go out and install the meters, then use those as the basis for comparison to the customer meters within that area.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. Do we have a motion?
I would move staff's recommendation to submit an application for grant funds from the United States Bureau of Reclamation and Water SMART for water and energy efficiency, and additionally for the Water SMART for Drought Response Program grants for the upcoming fiscal year.
Great. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. Thank you, Diana.